Today I want to talk to you about a pretty simple function test you can do on your Santa Fe Classic dehumidifier. The first thing we want to do, we've got just a portable outlet here for the video, is test the outlet. You know, we get some calls from customers where the dehumidifier just doesn't turn on. Half the time it's the outlet. So you can use just about anything with a cord. I've got just an outlet tester, a voltage tester here. So I'm going to plug it in here. I've got a light. I know the outlet is good. You can use a hair dryer, an iron, just about anything with a cord to test that outlet. So once we figured out that we have power to the outlet, we can scratch it off the board. From there we want to move to the dehumidifier. And the first thing you want to do is to just make sure that you've got the dehumidifier unplugged. So we're going to open up the front panel of the dehumidifier, the cabinet of the dehumidifier, and look inside, and we just want to make sure that we're as safe as we possibly can be. There's a lot of electricals in there. So we'll go ahead and take that front panel off, or front cover, and there's 6 screws that you want to remove. It's a number 2 Phillips bit that you'll use on a screwdriver, screw gun. Otherwise, number 2 screwdriver is what you want to use as well. So we'll go ahead and start taking that off. Okay, now we've got the screws off. We'll take this front panel off, and we'll take a look at basically the 3 components that we're going to be checking here today. So the first one that we'll check is going to be the fan or the blower down in the lower left here. Next one is the compressor, lower right, and then we'll also be testing the accumulator, which is this long copper tube here in the front. So the first one we'll test is the blower. So for that, what you want to do is go ahead and plug the machine in. Then we'll take this front panel, put it up next to the machine, put your hand on it and hold it, and then go ahead and hit the fan switch off to the side here. Once you hit that fan switch, you'll hear the fan actually turn on. It should sound like this. Hopefully you got a pretty good grasp of how that sounds. But this panel is actually going to be sucked in or pulled in to the bottom of the dehumidifier. So that'll be just fine the way that's set up there. Once the fan turns on and tests out okay, you can move on to the next step. For some reason you hear some kind of a grinding or a whining or a high-pitched noise on the fan, go ahead, turn it off, and contact our service department and let them know what you've experienced. So from there, we'll go ahead and we'll test the compressor. So now that we've got the fan on, we're going to go ahead and turn the dehumidistat or the control knob all the way clockwise to the right, all the way to the on position. So we'll turn that knob, and as soon as we do that, we should hear a hum, and I'll try and get as close as I can here so you can hear it. So we've got a good hum there. The compressor's on now. From there, the next step that we want to go to, once we find out that the compressor is actually running properly, we can test the accumulator. If for some reason the compressor doesn't turn on, go ahead and turn the machine off, and there's potentially an electrical problem with the compressor. So we want to contact the service department and let them know what we've experienced from there. But the compressor's running okay, so now we can move on to the next one, which is going to be the accumulator test. So the accumulator again is right here, and what we're looking for is just a little bit of a frost buildup on that accumulator. So one way you can get that frost buildup a little faster is by keeping this front panel up against the dehumidifier. That's going to give us the proper airflow we need to go ahead and have that frost start to build up here. So I'm already starting to get a little frost buildup here on the machine. So once you see that frost build up, you want to wait 5-10 minutes or so. Sometimes it happens a little quicker. But once you get that frost build up, you know that refrigeration system's okay, and we can move on to the next step from there. So the fact that I'm already seeing some frost building up on here, I can go ahead and move to the next step. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the dehumidifier down. If for some reason you didn't see that frost buildup, then contact the service department and let them know that you did not experience a frost buildup in the accumulator, and that'll give them a good idea that there's probably a refrigeration issue with the system. So we'll go ahead and shut things down here. And then we're going to go ahead and just put that front panel back on the machine if everything checked out okay. So the next test that we want to perform here, we call just a bucket test, is to just see how much water we can get out of the dehumidifier. So a couple things you want to do here before you get everything set up, just go ahead and document your temperature and relative humidity of the space that you're working in. That'll give us a good idea of what this dehumidifier should actually be doing as far as total water removal. So once you get everything all set up, you'll have to prop the dehumidifier up. It's a gravity-fed drain hose, so water's not going to flow uphill unless you have an actual condensate pump that you can just run that hose from the pump into the bucket so you can collect the water. So we've got just a simple bucket here, ran the hose in the bucket, and then what we're going to want to do is turn the dehumidifier, the control knob, all the way to the on position. So all the way clockwise to the on position. We want it to run continuously and not shut off. So let that run for a good 24 hours. And then if you're not satisfied with the results, you still think there's an issue with that with the dehumidifier after you've again documented the temperature and relative humidity, give our service department a call and let them know what your results were.